part of what LEI has stood for over the years, and it's interesting in Alan's discussion this morning about collaboration, talked about trust and trusting your colleagues. And I think because of the way Law Exchange has been, a smaller network in relative to some of the bigger networks in the world, that it creates this closeness and trust. And many of us have been coming for many years, and I think what LEI brings to the table that many networks do not is a sharing of knowledge. And over the years, there's been a lot of people from the different firms talk about their operations, their situations, and we've all learned.
Today, just to put things in perspective, from 5 firms almost 25 years ago, you can see that we've had bumps along the way, but it's been a straight line. It's been a nice, slow, but inexorable rise to what we are now, about 35, 36 countries represented, some by one firm, multiple countries by some firms, but nonetheless, we've got a nice steady growth. So I'd like to put that in perspective, because there are some people who say, oh, you know, we're too hot, we're too fast, we're too big, and some people, you know, say we're just fine, and other people say, hey, we got to get bigger. So I just want to show that in perspective. Just as your firms don't want to get too big, too fast, you lose the administrative control and the sense of personal connections.
Okay, so I'll start by giving a quick introduction to the whole VC scenario in India, right? How relevant is venture capital? Venture capital is important indeed, but they are certainly, the levels of relevance vary from market to market. In a market like India, it's an extremely relevant and important player in the ecosystem, venture capital. And the first wave of VC investing in India really started in the late 90s. I don't think people in India had even heard of the word venture capital till the late 90s. And even when some early deals were happening, it was not really something that was popular amongst the general public. People had heard of investment bankers, people have heard of lawyers, people hadn't heard of venture capital funds. I think the big moment in the mid to late 90s, which changed that and made everybody suddenly very aware of venture capital, was one deal. It was the sale of Hotmail to Microsoft.
There are quite a few things that are going to affect law firms, and we've seen it. We've had a number of presentations on this over the last 4 or 5 conferences. There are quite a few things that are going to affect law firms as into the next few years. We know that the competition, the advent of in-house counsel, different pricing, Jim alluded to them all this morning. We know all those, but in my view, and I think this is borne out by what actually Jim said and what our last presenters said, is there's only one force that will really determine what we will be doing and probably how we'll be doing it. That's what we'll be doing. And I think that force is technology.